TV shows most disturbing reality shows.
It's one of the most controversial reality.
I didn't watch any like reality shows growing up. I don't think I've sat down and watched a reality show, period. So the only time I would watch it, see anything about a reality show is when my mom was like watching something Housewives out of Atlanta. So it was always something Housewives on the TV. That was it.
Shows of all time.
I think maybe the biggest thing that I don't like about this show is it seems to manipulate the contestants.
Isn't that
It's
all
upsetting
shows?
in a lot of ways. What this producer and all the people who worked for him did to this poor guy.
I don't know what your values are, but
That
certainly
Cody
the
Ko?
show does not fit in any set of values.
Most reality shows are about singing, cooking, or dancing, but others were created just to shock or disgust viewers. Some of these shows were so
like my type
bad,
of shows.
viewers sued the network for airing them. Today
Never
we're
mind.
diving
That
into the
sounds
worst.
horrible.
We'll look at TV's most disturbing reality shows, starting from the least to the most shocking. So my goal this year is to give you guys double the amount of videos without sacrificing quality. And in order for me to do that, we got to keep Visual Venture growing. So 75% of you guys aren't subscribed, and it would mean
we're not
the
doing
world
good
to me
enough.
if you did. And I promise to give you more fire content. I'm Visual Venture. You are awesome. Milf Manor.
No, I'm Walker.
Google Milf Manor. and you'll
Manor?
see
Okay, I
headlines
know a little
like
bit about Milf
Manor is the
Manor.
worst thing I watched this year.
How is that the worst thing? I thought it was a banger. I'm up on Twitch right now. Link is in the description, so you should come join. Because if you don't, I was only told good things about it.
Manor is a show that should not exist, and everyone involved is going straight to hell. And people might have not been overreacting.
Whoa.
The biggest problem was the show's insane concept. Milf Manor was a dating show that premiered in January 2023. It followed 8 women in their 40s and 50s who wanted to date younger men. So the producers handpicked a group of guys who seemed like perfect matches.
Please head to the house where you will meet the new men in your life. Let's go!
But as soon as the guys walked out, the show took a disgusting
The
turn.
name called Milf Manor is hilarious.
That's my mom right there.
These weren't just random young men. They were the contestants' own sons.
I think that's a hilarious concept, but only on paper. I guess in real life, it's really
They
weird.
were the sons of the older women. That meant that every son had to watch his mother flirt, kiss, and date right
That
in
is
front of
crazy.
him. And the moms had to watch their sons do the same.
Hey,
I knew my
I
son
mean-
Gabriel was going to be in Mexico with me. I
Hey, I mean, I didn't watch it, so I'm just going based off like the concept itself. You know what I mean?
thought he was going to be on a separate dating retreat, but he's in my dating pool.
But that was just the beginning. Instead of giving everyone
That's
separate
crazy to hear.
rooms, the producer forced each mother and son to share a bedroom. So if
Dog. Okay, what?
a mom wanted alone time with one of the other guys, she had to kick her son out. Viewers were horrified, calling the
What?
show demented and weird.
No, that's
However,
weird.
for
No,
the
that's weird.
mothers
That's
and
weird. That's
sons
weird.
on the show, the experience was worse. By the second episode, one of the sons was left legitimately traumatized after finding out what his mother did. The producer
Okay. They didn't know this was gonna happen. Is that was because in the way my brain is working right now, the way my brain is like, okay, they introduced us, they told us what the show is gonna be about, they told us all these rules. Immediately leaving. I can't leave because I signed the contract. I'm not flirting with nothing then. I don't want I'm not participating no more. All right? I'm gonna do the bare minimum. That's what's happening because that is weird, bro. That has to be breaking some type of
producers
rule or
needed to keep
guideline.
the show exciting, so in every episode, contestants were forced into awkward challenges. In episode 2, they had to guess each other's inappropriate secrets. That meant that sons had to sit there and listen to their mom's bedroom experiences and vice versa.
Or what? Like, what happens if they just did?
Obviously, it did not end well. During the challenge, one of the moms confessed to doing something with her son's best friend.
Okay, I'm glad I paused before. Like, that's not any better. No, it is better. It's much better than it's much better than I thought what was gonna be said. That's much better.
Okay, my secret is I with your best friend.
The son
Why
was
is everyone woeing? Why is no one saying yuck?
speechless. He later told the show producers that he felt traumatized by the savage news.
This is something I never saw coming. I did not expect this at all, 0%.
That scene went viral and got everyone talking. Someone tweeted the pain in his face when his mom reveals her secret. Milf Manor is going to ruin these families, but instead of hurting the show, the negative publicity helped it grow. Soon, Milf Manor was one of the most popular shows of 2023. It was a train wreck, impossible to watch, yet impossible to look away from. This tweet said it best: Milf Manor being the single most demented, sick, and twisted television show put in television in the past 20 years.
That sounds like television's been kind of weak for 20 years. If this is the most sick and most demented, that sounds kind of weak to me.
OMG, I will be seated for every episode. The first season, which aired on TLC, accumulated more than 45 million views. But people weren't watching because they liked Milf Manor. They watched just to complain.
It seems to be unanimously the most twisted show I've ever seen.
But the backlash,
I wish I was more in tune so I can participate in watching this nonsense as it's airing. But I never hear about things like this until like apparently years later. I didn't know about Milf Manor until last year, so I was a year late. So it was like, you know what I'm saying? I'm always behind when it comes to what's popping.
Didn't stop the producers from releasing Milf Manor season 2 in 2024. This time, the single women were pursued by younger men and their fathers. Still weird, but in a different way.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Women were pursued by younger men and their fathers.
So that is preposterous, but is genius at the same time. That is
still weird, but in a different way. Milf Manor has a 14% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And although it hasn't been confirmed, there's a chance Milf Manor season 3 is already in the works. The show was a train wreck, but the worst part, these women had no control over their privacy. And that's not just a reality TV problem, it is an internet problem. Data brokers sell our personal information without us even knowing. You can go to any data broker website right now. I've found it, but after today's
Aura.
They scan data broker websites.
That's a crazy. That's a fire name. Shout out to Aura. Shout out VVOR.com/VV. You know what I'm saying? I help you promote.
Exposed. If I did this earlier, it would have saved me a ton of time and money. Everyone knew this next show would cause chaos because it involved kids, but the producers went ahead and made it anyway. Kid Nation. In 1954, someone wrote a book about kids trying to survive without adults. It was called Lord of the Flies. In the story, a bunch of kids decided to create their own society on an island. But before long, everything falls apart. Tempers flare, they turn on each other, and their society descends into chaos. So everyone was shocked when CBS announced a reality show about kids building their own society. They called it Kid Nation. And no surprise, it was a complete disaster.
It sounds like it could be such a hit though, I'm not gonna lie.
Kid Nation was filmed in an empty town.
But like from a media consumption standpoint, like I really want to see how these kids act, but like in a actual implementing it standpoint, it's like it's not gonna work because it's gonna do some horrible damage to these kids mentally.
In New Mexico, 40 of America's smartest children were dropped off and told to run the town for 40 days. There were no adults to help them, just a camera crew who stayed out of the way. The kids were between the ages of 8 to 15.
That's too big of a gap.
Imagine a world with no adults. Just 40 kids with a chance to build their own society.
Our work is cut out for us.
City kids, country kids, rich.
I would never want to participate in this nonsense.
At first, it felt like an adventure. The kids were in charge, making their own rules.
It's probably it would be fun for the kids for maybe the first 24 hours, if that. Every other day is hell breaking loose.
Started to go wrong. The problem started on day 1. As soon as they arrived, the kids were given their first physical challenge: haul all of their food and supplies to the abandoned town in the middle of the desert heat. But that was just the tip of the iceberg.
What? That's kind of crazy.
There's no adults, and I think I'm gonna die out here because there's nothing.
When it was bedtime, they were given paper-thin, dirty mattress pads
Okay, now
to
they
sleep
hoeing.
on.
They
Food
hoeing,
wasn't
they
any
hoeing.
better. They were
They
only
hoeing.
given canned goods and dried beans and had to learn how to prepare their own meals.
Well, when we first started planning for dinner, I realized that a lot of us haven't done anything like this before.
Then there was the issue
Yo, is he Patrick? Like, that's something Patrick would do. He just smacking a can with a screwdriver, bro. A flathead?
of medical care. With no parents around, they were left to treat their own injuries. Medics were on standby, but
injured
they only
already?
stepped in when things got really bad.
Who got
With each
injured
passing
already?
day, Kid Nation got more chaotic. Kids ate with their hands because there were no clean dishes. Fights broke out, and someone was always complaining about something.
I mean, duh.
don't see any food. No food. It looks like all our laundry and all our water is frozen in.
What? It's frozen? How did it?
But instead of stopping the show, producers just recorded the chaos. And then the police arrived to shut it all down. A few weeks into filming, New Mexico officials received an anonymous complaint about the conditions at Kid Nation. When inspectors showed up to
Anonymous? It
investigate,
must
they
have
were
been
turned
someone
away
recording.
several times. Eventually, the show's producer were able to get law enforcement to back off. So, the mayhem
I feel like the only way that idea works is if the kids are presented with like perfect luxury around them. Like no matter what, they will be able to survive neatly. And it could be more of like a, what will happen if a bunch of kids, like, they just don't have parental vision, parental vision, but they're also like, they're still fine. Like they're still safe. Like, what will the kids do? What will they come up with type of deal? They just threw them into the middle of the desert and say, here's some food, make something happen.
continued.
I think the town definitely really needs some law and order.
Low key though, low key, I think this show would hit now because we had Minecraft. We've had Minecraft and Terraria. You know what I mean? Like, we know we've had Minecraft, Terraria, Ark, the forest. You know, we know how to live, so we know how to survive.
Because the people are just doing whatever they want, whenever they want.
Oh,
The kids
man.
formed their own government by electing a town council, but all it did was create new problems and
Yes,
fights.
I mean that's all. That's what it's
I
gonna
find
do.
that really funny that you say you were nice to everybody on day one. You treat me like a... I'm not gonna treat you good.
You treat me like a what? You treat me like a. What did he say? There's not like.
The show lasted 6 weeks, but if things got too intense, any child could choose
Low key. They got influenced by that's something like Total Drama probably got influenced by.
to go home. So 3 kids quit before the show officially ended. Kid Nation finally aired on CBS in September 2007, and it caused an uproar. Viewers weren't just shocked. They accused the show of breaking the law. Child safety advocates accused the show of violating child labor laws. But the network saw this coming and made sure they were protected. CBS defended Kid Nation, claiming the set was more like a summer camp rather than a place of employment.
Summer camp. I don't know many summer camps that have frozen clothes when they're trying to wash them. I don't. I'm going to
Before filming, they also had the kids' parents sign a 22-page waiver giving up all rights to sue. Still,
and you know dang well those parents didn't read a single bit of that waiver.
viewers complained that this show was too reckless and that contestants could have been seriously hurt. The backlash was so intense that CBS never made a second
They repping gangs? Hold up, they repping gangs?
season. This next show took the idea of beauty and pushed it way too far. The
What I mean?
Swan. What happens when you mix plastic surgery and beauty pageants? You get this horrible show. The Swan was a reality show where women got plastic surgery to compete in a beauty pageant. And every step
No. That sounds horrific. That sounds so garbage, bro.
of the process was recorded for the world to see. But what aired on TV was so unsettling, it was called the most sadistic reality series of the decade. Each episode began with the show selecting women they called ugly ducklings.
All right, guys. We need to run a show about plastic surgery. So what I need y'all to do is just roam the streets of New York and find every ugly woman out there and hand them a contract to see if they want to participate, guys. All right? All right? And I'm talking about the ugliest of ugh. All right? Y'all got that? I'm talking makeup can't fix what they got going on. You're going to offer them a contract. and we're gonna make them to get plastic surgery. And even if they don't win, they'll at least be blessed by looking better than their ugly selves. Can I get a hoorah?
I've got hair. I feel completely unbearably disgusted with myself.
For 3 months, these women went through an extreme makeover with a team that included a personal trainer, therapist, dentist, and cosmetic surgeons. But the biggest part of their transformation involved plastic surgery.
Women went under the knife for dramatic transformations, going from ugly ducklings, that's the phrase the show used.
He had to make it clear that was the show's phrase. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. She looks like a normal woman that's around, I'll say like 46. But also like 40 to 46-ish. I don't know how old she is though.
Dramatic transformations, going from ugly ducklings, that's the phrase the show used, to beautiful swans.
That's a different
Contestants got new noses, cheek implants, lip injections, and other jobs, all done at the same time. It wasn't fun. Contestants were pressured into surgeries they didn't want. One woman was in time.
Oh, they were pressured into surgeries they didn't want? Hold on, let me just get a quick view of all these people.
It wasn't fun. Contestants were pressured into surgeries.
So based off of my quick review of all these people, let me break down a couple of things I saw. Some of them are just old, okay? It is what it is. You're just old. It is what it is, right? Some of them don't know how to smile. You don't know how to smile, any photo is not gonna look good, all right? They didn't know how to smile. Third, some of them can use some skincare. And fourth, a personal trainer. But none of them need the result of plastic surgery, all right? Most of them, if they just had the personal trainer, a little bit of skincare, they're straight. They're fine.
Surgeries they didn't want. One woman was scolded by one of the plastic surgeons for refusing a nose job. Another woman felt mounting pressure from the show to continue getting more work done to her body. But things didn't get any easier after the surgeries either. For 3 months, contestants were completely isolated from their friends and family, only allowed brief phone calls each week. But the strangest part was that they weren't allowed to literally see themselves. Every mirror they came across was covered. On top of that, they endured intense workouts, strict diets, and therapy sessions. If they didn't,
that sucks for them, but that's kind of fire to me in the sense of I wish I could work out, stick to a diet, and not see myself until the end, so I could see like the before and after, and like be shocked by the before and after. You know what I mean? Like that part, I wish I could do that to myself.
Keep up, the coaches would tear into them. One contestant was harsh piece sessions. If they didn't keep up, the coaches would tear into them.
Oh, I thought he meant like tearing plastic surgeries.
One contestant was harshly scolded just for ordering cream cheese. It was a complete emotional shock. At the end of the 3 months, their final transformation was revealed. It was like going to bed and waking up looking like a different person.
That's what I would want to do. Like, that's what I would want to do, though. So she got a nose job. All that she did was work out and they slapped some makeup on her. She didn't even need a nose job. Loki, all that really happened is she went to a gym and got a professional stylist and makeuper. Whatever a makeup person is called. Like that's really the only thing that happened. What?
No way. Oh my God.
But the show wasn't over yet. Each season, 9 contestants were chosen to move on to the Swan beauty pageant. Those who didn't qualify for the pageant were simply sent home with no further support. That was pretty cruel considering they just went through life-changing surgeries.
Yeah, a quarter of the year though, being isolated is crazy.
And the people that they bring onto the show to undergo all these procedures do have sometimes profound psychological issues that they need help to work through.
They
and this
would.
is not
that makes
something
sense.
that you can do in a 2.5-month program.
Some contestants later said they struggled with depression after the show ended, but the show didn't care. They focused on the women who made it to the Swan pageant, and for those women, well, things didn't get any better for them either. Instead of celebrating each contestant's journey, the show turned their transformations into a competition, adding more pressure to an already stressful experience.
We've been, relying on each other, and then all of a sudden, they're going to pit us against each other, not by our choices.
The Swan pageant was a standard beauty.
And that's why YouTube happened. Because look, good YouTubers will take the same idea, not completely isolate them from their family, allow them to see themselves or whatnot. But they'll do the same thing, but they'll have the before and after where they don't have to compare to someone else. And everyone's just happy, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, you look great. And they're like, thank you. You helped me so much. And then everyone lives a happy day. Like, that's when YouTube came into play. These shows always want to have a negative twist or something.
Contest with categories like evening gown, swimsuit, and lingerie. Whoever was considered the most transformed woman at the end was crowned the winner.
Oh my goodness, potato quality. Goodness. Academy Bar could even have a better quality on their camera than this.
The first season premiered in April 2004, and it was a hit, averaging 9.1 million viewers a week. Despite the high ratings, it also received a ton of negative comments.
The show stirred a major controversy, particularly over the ugly duckling crack.
Critics called it hurtful and repellent. Mental health experts said it promoted dangerous beauty standards.
But the whole setup and the people standing back there, it seems so contrived and fake that I just don't like it.
Even plastic surgeons spoke out, saying it was risky to put contestants through so many surgeries in such a short time. After 2 seasons...
So were the judges just there and they would look at the contestants before and after, they're just like, ugh, you're just not good enough. Like you changed, like you look a little better, but you leave. I'm getting sick and tired of looking at you. You're just, like, is that what happened?
Of non-stop criticism, The Swan was canceled. But as time passed, its reputation only got worse. Entertainment Weekly ranked it the worst reality television show ever produced. This next show wasn't just deemed disturbing by the public. I think we can all agree that the premise itself was meant to be as shocking as possible. My Strange Addiction.
Oh!
Every episode of My Strange Addiction was either tragic, creepy, or shocking.
I know about that one.
The show traveled across the country searching for people with the strangest addictions imaginable. The producers didn't want
I know 90% of them had to be fake, because this one was like addicted to eating her husband's ashes. And I'm sitting here like, I watched it, and I'm saying like, this don't even make sense. But why would you even lie about this in the first place? Like, why is that?
Struggles like gambling or substance use. They wanted addictions that would shock viewers to the core. And for 6 seasons, My Strange Addiction delivered exactly that, showcasing the strangest addictions ever seen on TV. One of the most unforgettable episodes followed a woman named Cassie. She recently lost her husband, and in her grief, she became addicted to eating his ashes.
I was just talking about that.
First, I lick my finger.
One thing y'all didn't know is I made his script, okay? He'll cover for me. Next video he drops, he's gonna be like, guys, Waka Waka Moon does make my scripts. Shout out to him. Trust, okay?
And I don't just dip it in. I swirl around to kind of feel and get it caked on there good.
Eating his ashes? Yes.
Then there was Nathaniel, who was in a romantic relationship with his car.
One too.
He kissed the car, took it on dates, and even got intimate with it.
Love you, baby. It was love at first sight. His body and then his interior and everything.
And the worst part is like the car is like whack too. Like that's actually whack. Like make love to something that we all can we could be like, okay, we got you, but that car is not it.
And just together just seemed to fit. And I just felt an instant connection.
Some addictions were more about appearances. One man spent thousands of dollars on surgery to look like a celebrity.
Yeah, that's
Some people buy fancy cars or fancy mansions, and what I do with my money is I get surgery to look more like Justin Bieber.
That's actually sick. They need help.
There was a woman who ate beds.
Mattress?
Literally.
Yeah, I remember this one.
My name is Jennifer. and I'm addicted to eating mattresses.
Some of these addictions weren't just strange, they were dangerous. A woman named Lori couldn't fall asleep without her blow dryer turned on next to her. Firefighters warned her it was a serious fire hazard, but she couldn't stop.
She, one night, turned on this blow dryer, and the sound of it, the warmth of it, just instantly put me to sleep. And from that night forward, I was hooked.
The show quickly became a hit. With each episode, the addictions got stranger and more shocking. But then, one addiction was so bizarre that viewers started to wonder if the entire show was fake. In season 3, episode 27, a woman appeared on the show with a not-so-safe craving.
My name is Shannon. I'm 20 years old, and I'm addicted to drinking gasoline.
Not smelling gasoline.
This episode was so outrageous it made people start asking questions. A Quora user wrote, "Can someone actually drink gasoline daily without ending? I just can't believe she's walking and talking normally. This has to be fake, right?" That person wasn't alone. On Reddit, there was a whole conversation about if the show was fake. I mean, how could someone eat a mattress and not end up in the hospital?
I drink gasoline weekly, not daily, so that's why I'm
If
fine.
these addictions were real, was the show actually...
That's just a joke. Don't drink gasoline. It can shut down your bodily systems.
Be helping anyone or just using their struggles for entertainment? Most shows about addiction try to help people recover. My Strange Addiction didn't. It just filmed their struggles and moved on. The show pretended to...
They're like, okay, do that thing that could kill you. Drink that gasoline that if you take too many sips could definitely kill you real quick. Okay. I want you to struggle to stop yourself from drinking it, but still drink it anyways. Okay, thank you. You're so lovely, girl. Okay, bye.
Care. Toward the end of the show, a therapist is usually brought in to assess the addiction and advise on the best course of action for the individuals to take. But most of the time, the therapist's advice wasn't helpful. One critic said it best: "Afflictions are fascinating, but too much time is spent gawking at their odd behavior as opposed to treating it. Only in the final moments do therapists pay a visit, and they oversimplified things by suggesting exercise and journaling." After 6
You're addicted to gasoline? Maybe you should start running a mile or two a day. That's all you need. Yeah, just a mile or two. You won't want gasoline no more. You ever feel like you want to drink? Just write it down. Type it in your notes on your iPhone. You'll be straight.
Season's My Strange Addiction ended in 2015. Till today, clips from the show still go viral. But no one can answer the biggest question. Were the addictions on the show real, or was the entire show one big scam? This next show was built on a foundation of lies and deception. Scare tactics. From 2003 to 2013, Scare Tactics aired 114 episodes. And in every single one, the goal was the same: to terrify people like never before.
Have y'all heard of Scare Tactics?
Welcome to Scare Tactics, where the cameras are hidden and people's everyday fears are exposed.
It was a hidden camera show that lured people into terrifying situations. They thought they were being hunted by monsters, abducted by aliens, or haunted by ghosts. And it was their own friends and family that set them up. Each episode began with a setup.
Well, I wanted to set up Ryan tonight on Scare Tactics
so bad,
because
it sounds like a great idea.
He always thinks he is so big and bad, and like I just wanted to prove to everyone once and for all, like, you know, he's not as hardcore as he always thinks that he is.
Fake?
The show went all out, using actors, costumes, and special effects to make everything feel real. The prank always started with something normal, like a job interview or a car ride. Then suddenly things took a terrifying turn.
Okay, so they didn't see these cameras.
I have nothing to do with it. You want my formula? You want my formula?
And just when the victim was about to lose it, the actors dropped the iconic line, "You're on Scare Tactics."
Because you're on Scare Tactics.
You got scared of a gnome?
Your boyfriend Matt set you up.
One of the worst pranks involved a rat monster experiment. The person being set up was hired as an assistant in a mysterious lab. Everything seemed fine until one of the experiments escaped.
There's like a little monster man running around in here. What was it?
Most viewers thought it was hilarious. Some felt the show was going too far with their scares. And then one day, Scare Tactics scared someone so much she sued the show. In March 2002, Scare Tactics picked their next target, Kara Blanc, a grade school teacher. With help from her friends, they lured Kara to an isolated location. Then out of nowhere, an actor in an alien costume jumped out. Kara panicked. The alien chased her everywhere. At the last second, the actors revealed it was all fake. week. Everyone else laughed, but Kara wasn't amused. She was furious and she wanted payback. Kara sued the show, claiming that she had to be hospitalized for physical injuries as well as severe emotional distress.
I can see that, bro.
She also asked
because
the
if
court
someone really, because the other thing, we're so desensitized to the internet, bro. This is like what, 05? Like going to the woods and seeing something that looked like an alien, I think I would genuinely tweak. Physical injuries is kind of excessive. Well, the way I see it, I don't know if it meant physical as in like it could do something with her heart too at the same time. I don't know if that goes under physical whatchamacallit though, but
stop her episode from ever airing. In the end, Scare Tactics paid Kara a low 7-figure sum, and her episode was—
why they make it sound like she didn't get paid like rats? Just a low 7-figure sum. She got scared for $1 million. Do I still feel bad? She got a bag.
Never shown. Since then, more people— a 7-figure sum, and her episode was never shown. Since then, more people have complained about the show, raising points like, what if someone had a medical condition? What if they fought back and hurt the actors? But everyone was usually always fine in the end. Even the ones who cried usually laughed when they realized it was all fake. So far, there's been 5 seasons of Scare Tactics, and in October 2024, it was revived for a 6th
I was about to say,
season.
so far, isn't it over?
You could be next.
I admit, I used to watch this next show back in the day, and I'm surprised it wasn't canceled. Fear Factor.
Oh,
Fear Factor.
I never
made
watched it
people
because
face
I
their
couldn't.
worst fears.
I couldn't do it. I could not watch something like this, bro. It just, I never felt the appeal of watching something like this. But yeah, I remember this.
For a chance to win $50,000 US. But these weren't ordinary fears. They were extreme.
You're going to climb that 110-foot tower. You will walk to the edge of the platform, and you will leap from the edge, grab a hold of that cargo net. You'll be jumping twice your body length.
Even the host, Joe Rogan, thought something bad could have happened because the stunts were so risky. Luckily, no one got seriously hurt. Still, a lot of terrible things happened because of Fear Factor. Fear Factor premiered on NBC in June 2001, right when reality TV was starting to take off. NBC wanted a show so wild, so extreme that no one—
another show that definitely influenced Total Drama Island. 100%. Completely influenced.
one could ignore it, so they created Fear Factor. In each episode, 6 contestants faced 3 scary challenges. If the contestant was too afraid to complete a stunt, they were eliminated. If they failed the stunt, they were eliminated. Before the stunts even started, contestants had to sign a waiver. The waiver stated that no matter what happened, injury or worse, contestants couldn't sue the show. They signed and the madness began.
I don't know if I could do that,
This is Fear Factor. The stunts you're about to see were all designed and supervised by trained professionals. They are extremely dangerous and should not be attempted by anyone, anywhere, anytime.
Each episode started with a crazy—
besides right now, when we're performing them, okay?
Physical challenge. Contestants had to do things like hang upside down over 100 feet in the air. The second challenge always involved something disgusting, and the final stunt was the toughest. It combined fear and physical endurance. Every challenge was intense, but what really made Fear Factor famous were the disgusting challenges. No one was prepared for how wild they were.
Extremely nervous, because I know it's not gonna be fun.
It's
gonna be terrifying.
In one episode, contestants had to eat sheep eyes. The camera zoomed in, capturing every gag and chew, but they were just getting started.
Come on, harness my man up. Give him a helmet.
Baby, let's go.
Let's do it. Put a helmet on him.
We have people fly cars across a train, a moving train. Okay, there's risk involved in that, right?
There's risk involved, yeah, death involved.
Contestants could back out of a challenge anytime. No one was forcing them, but most refused to quit. However, only one person could win the $50,000 prize. Because of these extreme challenges, Joe Rogan expected the series to be canceled after just a few episodes. But he was wrong. Fear Factor was a massive hit. The first 4 seasons were so popular that it became the first network reality show to be syndicated, which means that it aired on other television networks.
Basically, they're like, no one's died yet, So let's keep on pumping this series out until someone dies, and then we'll be mad at you. You know what I mean?
The show also made Joe Rogan a household name. Then it finally happened. Fear Factor was sued for an episode that went too far. In January 2005, a 49-year-old man watched an episode where contestants drank blended rats. He was so disgusted that he felt dizzy and lightheaded. In his confusion, he ran into a doorway. He blamed Fear Factor for his injury and sued them for $2.5 million. He said he sued to send a message to NBC and other networks about their programming. However, his case didn't go far. A judge dismissed the lawsuit, calling it frivolous. By the 5th season, viewers were losing interest in Fear Factor. Ratings were dropping. More people criticized the challenges. By 2006, NBC had enough. Fear Factor was canceled after the 6th season. But the show refused to die. In 2011, NBC brought it back, but it was canceled again after 1 season. Then in 2017, Fear Factor returned on MTV, but it lasted only 2 seasons before getting canceled again. No reality show has punished contestants as much as this next show. Susunoo Denpa Shonen.
Shonen? Huh. That's my type of anime right there.
Reality shows are supposed to be fun, but Susunoo Denpa Shonen was more like torture. And I am not exaggerating. It was literally described as this. The whole point was to push people to their breaking point.
Oh, it was this. I didn't know the name of this
Every
one.
season, new contestants were thrown into extreme challenges to see how long they would last before breaking down. Meanwhile, millions of viewers watched from home entertained. The show ran from 1998 to 2002, and every season was brutal, but season 1 was the worst. The first season,
it continued after the first season? That didn't get him canceled? That's impressive.
Aired in January 1998.
That's actually impressive.
Denpa Shonen, A Life in Prizes. The contestant was a 22-year-old man nicknamed Nasubi. The producers wanted someone desperate for fame, someone willing to take on a mysterious challenge without asking too many questions. Nasubi was perfect. He was an unknown comedian trying to make it big. When producers offered him the opportunity to be on TV, he figured it was his big break. Since it was a new show, the producers explained the rules to Nasubi. He would be locked in a tiny apartment without furniture or appliances. He would have no food, no clothing, and no contact with the outside world. His only way to survive would be by
when I do this show, I wouldn't dare do any of these shows at all. Like I have no urge. I wouldn't watch the show. What makes you think I would participate in it? Like, absolutely not. That's just not me. You know, that's just not who I am. Maybe that's who y'all are. But walk my own way too? That's not me.
Seen sweepstakes and winning.
I must say, Fear Factor was paying $50K for the winner. So that means you could have ate blended rats, chewed sheep eyes, and hung upside down for 20 minutes and not win any money because you lost. Not doing that just to lose. I'm not doing that to win either.
He would basically enter contests where he had a chance to win prizes, but there's a catch. The prizes are completely random. You could enter a sweepstake hoping to win a car, but instead you might win a box of ramen noodles. You never know what you're going to get. That was Nasubi's reality. If he won food, he could eat. If he didn't, he went hungry. If he won clothes, he could wear them. Producers told Nasubi he would be released once he won 1 million yen worth of prizes. That was equivalent to around $8,000 at the time. They also promised the footage wouldn't be streamed live. Instead, they would record everything, edit it down, and turn it into a television special. But that was a lie. It was like a real-life Truman Show. It was broadcasted live.
Unbeknownst to him, the show was broadcast weekly across Japan to more than 15 million viewers.
Nasubi thought he was signing up for a challenge. Instead, he became the subject of a twisted social experiment. Nasubi expected to win 1 million yen in prizes.
I wonder how he was treated. Like after the show was over, like was everyone making fun of him, or was everyone laughing at him? Like, what, or was like people like, "Oh, I feel bad for you."
In a couple of days. Then he would be released. But days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months, and he wasn't winning much. Viewers watched as Nasubi filled countless sweepstake entry forms, celebrating with a dance each time he won a prize. Unfortunately, most of his prizes were bizarre or useless in his situation, like a tent too large to unfold in his room or a bicycle without any space to ride. He barely won food. He sometimes went days without eating, and when Asubi finally won a piece of meat, he was overjoyed.
I need subtitles.
He also had no human interaction, so he talked to himself and the camera. After a couple of months, it seemed Nasubi was slowly losing his mind. All this time, he had no idea that 15 million viewers around Japan were watching his every move. Nasubi knew the door was open and that he could leave if he wanted to, but he kept going.
Okay, so he could have left. Man, I would have dipped after day 4.
Determined to reach his goal.
At first, I was excited, and I was thinking about all kinds of things, like how to do something funny in this space. After about a week, I began to worry about whether I could really continue this on my own.
It took Nasubi 15 months to win enough prizes to be set free.
15 months, a year and a quarter. A year and a quarter. Like, no, bro. There's nothing, there was not worth it unless you, like, even if you come out and you become a whole celebrity afterwards, it's like that torture, bro. He didn't get to see family, friends, nobody for a year and a quarter.
15 months of isolation and hardship. Nasubi's story is the most infamous, but other contestants went through extreme challenges too. In one season, 2 men had to hitchhike all the way from South Africa to Norway. In another, contestants were stranded on a desert island and told to build a raft to escape.
South Africa to Norway? Well, South Africa is too large of a place to like pinpoint how long that would take.
These weren't just challenges, they were life or death situations disguised as entertainment. Despite the cruelty, Susumu Denpa Shonen was a hit in Japan. Viewers loved watching it. But over time, people started to condemn the show. It felt morally wrong to push people to their limits just for entertainment.
They got a couple laughs out there and they're like, you know what? After about 3 months of him being tortured, it's not funny anymore. But man, when I tell you those first 2 months though, woo-wee, man. He's such a jokester, man.
A lot of ways. What this producer and all the people who worked for him did to this poor guy.
The show finally ended in 2002, but it's considered the ultimate example of how far a reality show will go for attention. Some reality shows take things way too far, and I believe that entertainment should never come at the expense of someone's well-being, because when the cameras turn off, the damage stays. Visual Venture.
Talk to him, Visual. Hey, make sure you give me a little bit of credit for writing the scripts, you know what I'm saying? No, beautiful video, man.